Vehicle, LAPD started chasing it while going through Van Nuys.
And we understand it started on surface streets and quickly got onto the 405, the northbound 405. And now, as you mentioned, he is on the 101 freeway and moving very, very quickly. You see all that traffic there. Traffic is much slower than his pace, which makes all of this a very dangerous situation.
Right. He seems to have really tacked up the speed, but he does seem intent on basically staying within this area. Keep in mind, again, he's in the Encino area, but we've been largely seeing him hanging out in the Van Nuys area. And if you know that community, you know that these communities are really close to each other. But you can see the high rate of speed pushing up about 62, 65, 60, almost 70 miles an hour. And beyond that, he has a wide open road right here. This is Havenhurst Avenue. Going through Encino, so he's opening it up. And as we all know, Mercedes can be a high-performance vehicle. This is an SUV, a large SUV at that, and he's really using it to his advantage.
Yeah, this makes me nervous watching how fast he's going on these streets. It is it's 5:30. Lots of people are on the road in their commute home, and he's going really, really fast here. Anything can happen every time he comes up to an intersection. So we have to keep this, keep a close eye on this, obviously. And LAPD from the Van Nuys area began following him. They believe, as you mentioned, that this is a stolen Mercedes.
What we think, though, is there's only one person in the vehicle, at least from what we can see and what police could see. You never know, though, so they'll handle it appropriately. But one person seen in the driver's seat, nobody seen in the passenger seat right now. And again, this first came out as a stolen vehicle, and clearly this person does not want to yield to police. They followed it for a little while on surface streets before he decided to finally take off, and then the pursuit was on.
Yeah, and he's still going very fast, even in these narrow streets. And a couple of times when you were talking, he came close to a couple of other cars. He's, as you mentioned, determined to keep going. And
yeah.
I don't know if Air 7 can pull back and we can see where the patrol cars are. How closely they are. Maybe they've decided to pull back. I don't see them there.
I don't either. And he's going through a tight community here. Encino has a tendency of being tight, being hilly, and he's clearly moving at a high rate of speed, which makes it very dangerous. This is a Mercedes 4 Series SUV, so it could really open up and it could maneuver pretty well. There you see it. There's the model of the vehicle as you see him flying through. One person again in this vehicle reported as stolen, and it looks like he's back on Ventura Boulevard, Giovanna.
Eastbound.
Eastbound now.
Yep. It seems as if he's circling the neighborhood, as you mentioned.
That was a red light he just ran through as well.
And yes, indeed. Again, he's not wanting to give up, and I feel like he's getting very close to. He's had a lot of close calls already.
And this is a very congested area. I often drive through here, especially at rush hour. It gets really tight. And he is desperately trying to kind of maneuver his way through there. He's going to try to squeeze his way through on a left-hand turn. And let's see, now that he's turning, let's see if there's any LAPD anywhere near him. Keep in mind the helicopter. Oh, there it is. There's a unit. So they are tracking him.
He made a U-turn. He's now going westbound.
Okay.
Westbound on Ventura.
They're reacting quickly as well.
And look at him driving in the middle lane. Wow.
Really flying there.
Yeah.
We can't see how fast he's going, but he is flying by, and people don't have time to react if they're going to be moving over. There he is in the wrong side of the road for just a brief moment there as he continues to fly through Ventura Boulevard.
Yeah, and no details at this time where the stolen vehicle originated from. We do know, though, the pursuit began on surface streets in the Van Nuys area.
Again,
of the high level of danger here in Encino. As you said, an extremely busy area at this time of the day, really most of the day here on Ventura Boulevard, which is a major street here that runs through the Sherman Oaks area, as well as here in Encino where we find ourselves now. There's lots of businesses on either side of the street, a lot of pedestrian traffic. So for that reason, when the officers evaluated what was going on, and they know that this person is just wanted for the vehicle theft and nothing else at this point, they decided that it was in terms of safety, as far as that is concerned, it was in their best interest just to let it go. So at this point, the airship is again asking for permission to just keep an eye on it, just in case he becomes more dangerous down the line. They can always get units back into place, but at this point, it sounds like it's just going to be a tracking. It would be the best way to describe it here from the helicopter only. At this point, it's unclear. I believe that the officers who were behind the car really couldn't even tell how many people were inside the car, because if you look at those windows, they are very darkly tinted, so it is very difficult to see inside. But this is actually a pursuit that we first heard about when it was a following. It was the LAPD's Van Nuys division that started following the car, and they ran the plates. They realized it was stolen, so they tried to get some units behind it. 5 total is what I heard. They had 5 units behind the car, and they wanted that many units, as well as the airship overhead, before they attempted to do a what's called a high-risk traffic stop. But when they made that traffic stop, the vehicle just failed to yield and the pursuit was on, bringing us down here into the Sherman Oaks and Encino area. He was on the freeway for a time, both the 101 as well as the 405 freeways, before exiting and taking surface streets. So at this point, it looks like he may be getting on the freeway. Yeah, he may be getting on the 101 freeway. So now the CHP could take over if they wanted it to. Again, at this point, from what we're hearing on the police scanner, the LAPD has let it go as far as the ground crews are concerned. But the airship's just going to keep tabs on it so that they can know where this person is, and in case he starts to drive dangerously again. But the CHP could decide that they want to chase it. This, again, it comes back as a stolen car, so the California Highway Patrol could very well do that if they wanted to, especially now that it's on the freeway. But at this point, I'm not hearing that the CHP is interested in taking over, but he is on the 101 freeway here at the Havenhurst exit in Encino. So he's actually headed southbound. I know our map there says northbound, but it's actually, he's headed southbound on the 101 freeway, so headed towards the 405. Now, if he decides to get on that 405, I can tell you it is down to a crawl if you're headed northbound on the 405. Southbound, it doesn't look as bad, but if he gets on the northbound 405, he's going to be in a lot of traffic. If he decides to stay on the 101 freeway, though, that also extremely busy coming away from the Encino and Sherman Oaks area and making your way over towards Studio City. Exactly. So he had the choice, as you were about to say, Colleen, of the 405 and the 101, but he seems to be favoring the 101 freeway, and it looks like he's going to continue here southbound on the 101. So if he continues in this general direction, it's going to be a lot of traffic, as I was just saying, as far as the eye can see, really, as you make your way over towards the Cahuenga Pass. So I believe the airship is still overhead, and again, that was the LAPD's Air 16 that was overhead, and they got overhead even before it was a pursuit, when it was still a following, because they wanted to have what's essentially called a pursuit package in place in case the vehicle didn't yield and the pursuit began, and that's exactly what happened. So as soon as the pursuit began, the LAPD airship was able to keep tabs on him, and he actually made his way over to the Sherman Oaks Galleria for a little bit. He was in the parking structure, and we thought that was basically going to be it. He was going to abandon the vehicle there and take off running, but he didn't do that. He went through the structure and popped right back out the other side, and then continued to drive very dangerously on Ventura Boulevard until the LAPD decided it was just simply too dangerous. This guy was driving the wrong way on Ventura Boulevard, a major street here through the area. So with all the pedestrian and vehicle traffic, it was simply too dangerous. They decided that it was best to just back off all of the ground units and allow the airship to just kind of keep an eye on things. So we never heard any mention of the LoJack, but I first did hear about this when we were at Whiteman Airport listening to the police scanners, and I heard that there were units behind the car. They had already ran the plates, and it came back as a stolen. And so they knew they were going to try to pull this guy over, but they didn't want to do it until they had enough units behind it. So they ended up getting 5 units of the LAPD's Van Nuys division behind it, as well as the airship, before they made any attempt to pull the person over. And when they did, the person just simply failed to yield, and the pursuit was on. And now that pursuit brought us from the Van Nuys area over towards the Sherman Oaks Galleria, as I was just saying, and then from there he took Ventura Boulevard and then got on the 101 freeway. So that's where we find ourselves now, the southbound side of the 101 freeway at Van Nuys Boulevard rather. And I was just asking my pilot Robert Rodriguez if there was a police helicopter overhead, wanted to confirm that. And in fact, the police helicopter, Police 16, is still overhead, continuing to monitor the pursuit.
With this one, probably hope that they get back off the freeway at some point. Maybe they can conduct a pit maneuver if traffic allows. Maybe they can get some spike strips set up somewhere else, or we'll just have to see how this one plays out.
It's true, and as we watch this here, breaking news on KCAL 9 and streaming on CBS News Los Angeles, this is the pursuit of a stolen vehicle, and we don't know much about what happened before this chase happened, actually. We don't know if this was a stolen vehicle from a street, a car dealership, possibly a carjacking of some sort. Obviously, if it was a carjacking and they used a weapon, that would certainly heighten the security level for officers, but it seems like since they've backed off their ground units and they're keeping an eye overhead, it's unclear kind of what's going on inside that car right now. We don't know how many people are in here. We don't know if they are armed. We have no idea. So obviously, we are going to wait to see if the CHP joins this pursuit right now, or takes over the pursuit, I should say. If it stays on the freeway, more than likely they will. Now, the LAPD, if they were following on the ground with their ground unit still, with their black and whites, they would, under safe conditions, and obviously this is not safe conditions because there are so many cars on the freeway right now, but they would do a pit maneuver on the freeway. They do have protocols for that, and they will do it, but not at freeway speeds, obviously, and not with this many cars around.
Yes, that's. I've only actually ever seen that happen one time, and it was at a fairly unsafe safe speed involving LAPD a long time ago with an alleged drunk driver, and it was actually in some fairly heavy traffic. So it's an extreme rarity to see something like that. I can't imagine that CHP would get permission from their watch commander to do that in this kind of traffic. And as we head towards the 134, so we're leaving Sherman Oaks and headed towards the Studio City area. Traffic picking up a little bit at the moment, kind of zigzagging around, just widen out, and we'll see if there is a CHP ground unit in place. Not quite yet. Still trying to find their way through traffic on this one as well. LAPD still lending eyes from overhead. They had contacted CHP. They were coming from just a couple of miles out on this one, and still waiting to see them get overhead, and again on the right-hand shoulder. Again, as we get off of the freeway now, boy, going down this ramp awfully quickly as we exit and kind of, let's see what they do here as we make our way out onto Woodman. So still through Sherman Oaks, right through the red light, and going northbound on Woodman. So we are still in Sherman Oaks at this point.
And luckily, those cars actually stopped right before that car started coming out. I know they were going pretty slowly, but even so, gosh, that was so dangerous. Had someone been flying through that green light, they were coming on a red, so it's obviously very dangerous. Now, for the CHP to engage in the pursuit, as we were talking about, a number of things has to happen. Obviously, they're now on the local on the local streets, or on residential, or on the surface streets. So the LAPD might come back with their ground units, but they are still overhead with their airship. But if the CHP wants to join, they're going to have to do various things. They're going to have to, first of all, get the primary unit, as Desmond was talking about, who will be the first person to chase this person. It looks like we were going through the... Is this a Sherman Oaks Galleria?
This is the Fashion Center, I believe they call it, the other mall in Sherman Oaks, the one that's on Riverside Drive near Woodman.
Oh, Fashion Triangle.
There's now, yeah, and so earlier the suspect was around the Galleria, and we thought maybe was going to ditch their vehicle inside the parking garage. Now let's see if they come back out here. Okay, there they are. We've seen this many times. Here we go, going into the parking garage. Might be getting ready to ditch this vehicle. He's now evading our eyes as well as LAPD from overhead. And Susie, we actually just heard that now that this is off the freeway, CHP is not interested.
But a little bit, just
Parking structure, or he could fly through the mall.
At risk of this
airship overhead knows exactly where he's at. So what the airship is doing
Close to, right?
This suspect, all we can do, there's several exits here. This is a huge garage.
It is a
might
huge
be going in
yes.
and parking and just, yeah, might just be parking and walking, you know, inconspicuously into the mall just at this point. And when there's no law enforcement anywhere nearby, this is the kind of thing that can happen. So, unfortunately, a pretty concerning development here. It's going to be hard to. Even if there's a lot of exits to monitor as well.
True.
You know, there's just two sets of eyeballs in that LAPD helicopter right now, and they have to stay in motion around this. So I'm really concerned that the suspect is going to get away right now.
Yeah, and from that parking structure, as you were just mentioning, Desmond, there are so many exits in that parking structure, whether they go into the mall. From some stairs or an elevator, or just from, you know, the top that you're seeing there, you can go right into the mall as well.
That's a Volvo.
It is black, I believe.
So the speculation
Around the mall as well. So it's unclear tonight how the LAPD will be finding this person, if ground units are going to be joining the airship at some point to get into this parking structure and maybe locate this person. But as Desmond was just talking about, it's kind of a needle in the haystack at this point, right, Desmond?
You know, so, 1 second, Susie. I was just getting some information.
No problem.
No, that is not it. Nope. It looks similar, but no, that is
is
a Volvo SUV. Yeah, we were hearing LAPD talking about a vehicle that just exited. So they still have their helicopter. They're looking, but at this hope, probably the best hope is that the danger to the public is over for now. The suspect, we hate to see them get away, but if they park the vehicle and, you know, get into the mall, if LAPD can come at least find the vehicle, recover the stolen property, at the very least they can do that. But you're still going to have a suspect that is out there in the public, and, you know, what's to stop them from finding another vehicle to allegedly steal?
It's true, and we don't know if they're armed. That's another concern. Like we said, we don't know if this was a carjacking maybe, or they used some sort of weapon to get this car. We don't know. I'm sure the LAPD is trying to track down the owner right now. Maybe they've already spoken with them and got some information that this was not a carjacking. Maybe it was just stolen off the street. But certainly they want to find this person, and it's going to be very difficult with the parking structure and the blending in with other people. That can certainly happen. Honestly, I didn't see, you know, I don't know. All I heard was it was a male, a man. So, you know, description-wise, that's all we have at this point. So it's unclear, you know, how the LAPD is going to try to find this person. But maybe locate the car first, and who knows, maybe they'll still be nearby, but at this point, looks pretty difficult.
Yeah, I mean, the best bet may just be if they can pick up some fingerprints, if there's someone that's, you know, in their registry, that might be the only way that they could track somebody down, because this was a stolen vehicle. Obviously, the license plate's not going to lead them anywhere on that. So this is, you know, what happens when law enforcement decides to back off? It's hard to fault them sometimes. We've seen some extremely dangerous pursuits that are just, not just over property crime, but we're not talking about someone that, that committed murder or something like that. They're not going to let one of those suspects get away. But we are noticing increasingly, especially as pursuits become more and more dangerous, that LAPD is not afraid to terminate the pursuit. And if that means that someone is going to get away, at least for today, then it seems like that is the calculated decision that they have made. They have made the decision that is preferable than someone driving like a maniac and potentially T-boning and killing an innocent an innocent person. And it's difficult to fault LAPD for that. There's really no good decision, unfortunately, that can be made. No perfect decision, I should say.
It's true. We're going to keep an eye on this breaking news in the Sherman Oaks right now, where we're looking at the possibility of a suspect of a stolen vehicle still inside this parking structure. We'll keep an eye overhead. Thank you to Desmond Shaw and his crew in Sky 9. We're going to keep an eye on this and bring you the very latest here on KCAL 9 and CBS News Los Angeles just as soon as we get an update.
Bless you. Exactly, Colleen. These are just shoppers going back to their vehicles, but there was some question just about a minute ago or so of whether that could be the vehicle right there on the top floor of this parking structure, but the police helicopter is confirming that it's not. So they did look at that vehicle, but it didn't match the description of the one that they were chasing. The one they were chasing had more of a bluish tone to it, and this one is a black vehicle, so they know that that's not the car. So they made a quick check on that car. They know that's not it. And just getting back to what the owner of the license plate was talking about, essentially what happened to him was that this vehicle that the police were in pursuit of was a cold-plated vehicle. So we talk about that sometimes, and it means essentially that the vehicle is likely going to be stolen, but what they know for sure is stolen is the license plate that has been placed on a stolen vehicle, and when the police run run the plates. They realize the plates are stolen, so the car is probably stolen as well. Cool, upper brakes, thank you. You heard Channel 5, right, Robert? They said Burbank wants us under 1800. I heard him on O2. He's answering you. He said go for 5. It should be calm too. I see it. Okay. Assignment desk from Alpha. The airship is telling us the man is inside of the mall now. So they got him on surveillance footage on foot inside of the mall. Yeah, go for it. You can do whatever you want now because we know he's in the mall, so. Yeah, police airship said it was a guy. Copy that. Desk, they did find the vehicle abandoned in this structure. So we have the 6 o'clock show starting here in like the next 2 minutes, so they may use us for that. In about 2 minutes? Correct, yeah. All right, cool. So yeah, Robert, we'll talk in 2 minutes, but you can just keep orbiting, it's fine. Okay, 1 minute 45 out. Okay. Okay, will do. Copy that. Yes, Tim, thank you. Telemundo at the top. Yeah. Okay, out on Telemundo. Yeah. They say they have plainclothes in the mall. Yeah. That's right, Colleen. LAPD officers believe that the man who they were in pursuit of is now in the mall, but I'll start by showing you the parking structure that you just mentioned. They located the vehicle in that structure, and using the surveillance footage, they were able to get a good description of who they are looking for. So now they can focus their attention on the mall itself. Now, not only do we have uniformed officers in the mall, there's also plainclothes officers, is what we're hearing, looking for this individual. And the officers are pretty confident that once they spot him, they will be able to identify him. But this is actually a pursuit that started about 15 to 20 minutes ago in the LAPD's Van Nuys division. It was LAPD officers who spotted that dark-colored sedan. They ran the plates, and they realized that it came back as a stolen plate, which led them to believe that the car must also be stolen. So they got enough units behind it to try to pull him over, but he failed to yield and the pursuit was on. And it was a very dangerous chase, making its way on both the 405 and the 101 freeways before driving the wrong way on Ventura Boulevard, and that is when officers decided to hang back and just let the airship follow him, and the airship followed him here to the mall where he abandoned the vehicle, and the search continues. That is the latest from Sherman Oaks and News Shopper 4 Alpha. Let's send it back down to you in the studio. Thank you, Booth. All right, let me check in with the desk. Assignment desk from Alpha. Hey, Jamie. So we just did our hit there at the top. Telemundo used us as well. This is going to be here a while. Did you want us to keep circling, or should we head for home? Okay, copy that. to check this street over here because they're getting some calls that somebody may have been seen jumping fences over here. Yes, Jamie. We're actually looking at a street near the mall. It's just on the north side of the mall. It's called Lamaida Street, L-A space M-A-I-D-A. A resident here reports that there was somebody jumping walls that match the description of the person they're looking for. So now officers are moving into the neighborhood because the guy may have exited the mall and be in the neighborhood instead. Okay, cool. Wait, copy that, Jamie. They are now searching the neighborhood just north of the mall because a resident saw somebody jumping walls who matches the description. Sherman Oaks, yes. What is it? Oh. Yeah. It's a touch on the cold side. You could lower it just a touch. Thank you. Okay, copy that. 2.5 out. They'll use us in 2 minutes again. But I think we'll do the cop car rolling around the neighborhood that we're doing now. Okay, copy that. Let's see if he doesn't leave. He might be leaving the neighborhood. Let's see. Is there any other cop cars in this neighborhood that we could do instead of him? There's... Okay. Okay, cool. All right, 2 minutes out. Let's see. Okay. I think he might be leaving, so I'll just show like a wide shot of the neighborhood. Perfect. The airship's still here, Jamie. But yeah. Okay, 30 seconds. Colleen, the LAPD actually got a credible threat from a resident here that said that they saw somebody matching the description of that person who was seen leaving that car that was involved in the pursuit and was seen jumping backyards here just off of Lameda and Murrieta, which is the residential neighborhood just to the north of the mall. So we have seen LAPD officers canvassing the neighborhood, talking to residents, trying to figure out if they can get any more information to try to locate that individual, but for now, the search continues. That is the latest from News Chopper 4 Alpha. Back to you in the studio. Thank you. Did you want to turn on the fan? I think it's separate than the AC. Oh yeah, there's the fan. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. That way get a little circulation. Alrighty. Headed home. We're clear.
We have an update right now on that breaking news we've been following. The man wanted for a stolen SUV chase. Apparently, we thought he ran inside a mall. Now it's believed he's in a neighborhood in Sherman Oaks. Ileana Moreno overhead in News Chopper 4 Alpha. Ileana?
Colleen, the LAPD actually got a credible threat from a resident here that said that they saw somebody matching the description of that person who was seen leaving that car that was involved in the pursuit, Marietta, which is the residential neighborhood just to the north of the mall. So we have seen LAPD officers canvassing the neighborhood, talking to residents, trying to figure out if they can get any more information to try to locate that individual. But for now, the search continues. That is the latest from News Chopper 4 Alpha. Back to you in the studio.
All right. Thank you, Ileana. We have an update. Apparently, we thought he ran inside a mall. Now it's believed he's in a neighborhood in Sherman Oaks. Ileana Moreno overhead in News Chopper 4 Alpha. Ileana?
Colleen, the LAPD actually got a question. I got you, Booth. Go ahead. It was Lameda and Murrieta, and we're just hearing from the police ship that they got him in the neighborhood. Go back? Okay, we can go back, Robert, and try to get it. Yeah, they just found him in the neighborhood, so we're going to try to go back and get it. Okay, here's the officers coming in. Here we go. Yep, they got him. There's a tree in the way, but as soon as you come around, we'll see it. Assignment desk from Alpha, we're back, and there he is. Copy that after sports. So Robert, it was a CHP airship? Awesome. Okay, copy that. Telemundo in 2 as well. Okay, copy. Coming up next. Yeah. Colleen, and the way that they arrested him is actually really interesting. The CHP airship was overhead, and they used their FLIR system to locate the man. The CHP then notified the LAPD, and LAPD just moved in for the arrest. We're in that residential area just north of the mall, just off of Murrieta Avenue and Peach Grove Street. That is the latest from Sherman Oaks. Back to you in the studio. It really did, because based off of the surveillance footage at the parking structure, they believed that he was in the mall, but thanks to a very observant resident in the neighborhood just north of the mall, they were able to pinpoint his location to generally these streets, and then the CHP was able to find him using that FLIR camera. And live on Telemundo. Thanks, Boop. Yeah, go for it. They're gonna put him in the car right now, so. Okay, still live on Telemundo. Okay, copy. Cool, thanks, Jamie. Yeah, I think Tim's counting me down with Telemundo. I think they're almost done. You're clear now? Okay, cool, thanks. Alrighty, we're clear for good now, Robert. Thank you. Yeah, good job. Which one is it? It's on one, but you hear it on two? Uh-huh.
Tail.
The